Some of the greatest people had to go through transformation. Some of the greatest people had to go through a metamorphosis of themselves. They had to die to themselves to become great. They had to go through some kind of transformation. And a lot of them have struggled. And a lot of them had to go under the fire. A lot of them went through so much pressure that you're going through right now. Tell the truth, because I'm feeling it. But I'm feeling it. But I'm talking to people on the phone. I'm seeing things on Facebook. I'm seeing things on Instagram. And it saddens me because I'm an empath. I'm one of those people that feel other people and can take it to heart. And if you're not emotionally intelligent, it will take you under. I'm going to tell you, it will drain you. People will get on your nerves. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, okay? If you are not strong enough in yourself, in your core to handle it, it will take you under. So let's talk about the caterpillar and the butterfly. I want to use this because I've been seeing in my spirit butterflies everywhere, especially blue butterflies. So I started to research, what in the heck does this butterfly, what does it mean? Like, what does it mean? And the spirit led me, God led me to read about the metamorphosis of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And this is very important for me, for you to understand where I'm coming from. So use yourself in this caterpillar's position. The caterpillar is hanging out with the worms, and it's just, eating for nourishment. It's building itself up so it can grow up to become something that they know they have to become and develop into. But they're hanging out with the snails, and they're hanging out with the worms, and sometimes they're hanging out with the snakes. And that environment may not be very healthy for that person. So why am I saying this? If you're a caterpillar right now and you're at your new beginnings, you are so fired up, you are starting your business, or you're waiting on something that you've been asking God for, you've been begging God for, you've been praying for, but it ain't coming through. Why? I know why. If you come to my manifestation class, we'll go into that deeper. But right now, let's just focus on the caterpillar and the glorified butterfly that we love to talk about. But we never want to talk about that process in between. What the caterpillar has to go through to become the butterfly. So the butterfly is hanging out with the worm. The butterfly is hanging out with the snail who's moving real slow. But you are constantly eating. You're nourishing your body. You're constantly feeding yourself. You get what I'm saying? You're constantly really pouring into yourself. You're giving it your all. You're giving it 100%. You're running a marathon, okay? Everything looks good in the beginning, but what about the process? That is when you have kind of ran yourself ragged. People have been tugging on you. People have been calling on you because you're leveling up now. You're running. You're climbing a mountain. You're tired. You're exhausted. You're overwhelmed. I get it, girlfriend, boyfriend. I understand where you're coming from, but some of us need to learn what to do, how to channel those emotions so we can be in control of our mindset, our mentality. Because I'm going to tell you something. The enemy is being real slick right now. Let's get a little deep. I know you're used to me seeing me playing, having a good time, and drinking and partying. But let's get deep today. Because you know what? Suicide is real. Suicidal thoughts are real. Spirits are absolutely real. Or energies, however you want to talk about it. Energy is a real thing. And all of us are actually energy. We are all a ball of energy. And either we're going to touch people with our love, or we're going to touch people with anger, or we're going to touch people with sadness. What do you choose to do? How do you choose to transform your life? So let's go back to the caterpillar. He's hanging out. He's eating his leaves for nourishment. He knows he's got to grow up and be this big caterpillar and become real fat, grow hair on his back. But once it realizes that, okay, I'm at this point where I've hit the wall. I'm ready to metamorphose into something else. I'm ready to really elevate into something else, but now you're exhausted. You're tired. What do you do in those low moments? What do? Do you just go home and go to bed and cover yourself with the covers or sheets and you just sleep your day away? Or do you eat emotionally like I do? I can eat, honey. I like to eat anyway, so don't make me mad and sad. I'm going to eat good. But let me just say this. If your inner core is not strong enough to withstand your emotions. I'm gonna tell you, when you are trying to level up, people gonna tug at you, people gonna have all types of stuff to say, people gonna tear you down, people gonna lie on you, people gonna be nice to you, but then they got all these opinions and they love you, and some of these people don't even realize that they're draining, they're sucking the life out of you, but you continue to put yourself in that environment. What are you gonna do? You have to find a cocoon, my dear. And people think that being alone is depression, but when you can turn that knob into a positive thing and start thinking self-care is the best health care for you. Because when you become spiritually weak, there's no medicine for that. I'm going to tell you that right now. The only medicine for that is prayer, baby. The only medicine for that is not only just prayer, because I'm going to tell you, I don't pray like I used to. I take my prayers to a whole nother level. And prayer to me is asking for something, and it's a request for something. And we all have to ask, and we all have to go to God in admiration, and we have to go to him with that attitude of gratitude. We got to do the whole nine. But when you are asking God for something in your life to manifest, you got to come to him with a clean slate, a clean heart. You've got to pretty much submit yourself. You got to surrender. And you got to look at the caterpillar that you used to be. You're hanging out with the worms. You're hanging out with the snails. You're hanging out with the snakes. What are you going to do so you can change? You can transform into something that I know God has called you to do, and you have not done it yet because of fear. Oh, honey, I'm so glad I'm past that. I'm not the caterpillar anymore. The caterpillar is fearful. The caterpillar is trying to, work its way up. But I'm going to tell you one thing about life. If you're not afraid of that thing ain't big enough for you. And it's okay to be afraid and step out on faith. But I want you to focus on not being the caterpillar anymore. It's time to grow from that. It's time to build character. So what does that caterpillar do? It has this innate feeling on the inside. Okay, I got my hair on my back. I'm big and fat. Now it's time to create my pupa. That pupa is a satin shroud that it creates around its body, its physical body. And I'm going to tell you, when you're going through something and you've hit rock bottom and you've hit the wall, or you're exhausted, or you're overwhelmed and you're depressed and you're thinking these thoughts that are kind of dark, let me tell you something. When you are working on fumes and you have nothing left in you, you become furious. Your emotions become imbalanced and your mindset becomes chaotic. And some of the people might call you crazy because you might be going crazy. But I'm going to tell you, you've got to ask God to come in now. You got to ask to step. A lot of us don't do that. A lot of us just waddle in our mess and we just stay there. But that is when you need to submit yourself. That is when you need to surrender and die to yourself and say, God, you know what? I've been reckless. Take this wheel. Please take it. God, you know what? I've been running all these red lights. Please take the wheel because I can no longer do this on my own. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Because we don't serve a monster. That's what my pastor always says. We don't serve a monster. We serve a gentleman. He has to get permission from you in order to take over you and transform you so you can become the butterfly that you're meant to be. But Angel, how in the world do we go through that season, that change that we don't want to talk about that process. We don't want to talk about the ugly. We don't want to talk about the bad. We don't want to talk about when you go into your cocoon. That is the time where you're supposed to be praying. You're supposed to be meditating. Again, prayer to me is asking for requests. And we're going to do a whole podcast on meditation. I cannot wait till it comes out. I wish I could post it now. That's how serious I am about it. Because meditation, if you're like me, very high strung, you're a busy person, you getting it, you hit the ground running every day, your mind is running 1,000 miles an hour. What do you need to do? You need to pause. I'm going to tell you who meditated. Your best friend, our best friend, Jesus meditated. In order for him to deal with all these different type of people, because Jesus hung out, he was very well rounded. He was very equal to people. He met people where they were. He didn't judge them. He didn't do that. No, he didn't. He hung out with the sinners. He hung out with the low lives or whoever they were. He hung out with them, high and low. But Jesus had to meditate as well. He had to go into a quiet space so he can hear God speak to him. It's the same thing. It's just like your iPhone, y'all. You got your iPhone. This is my case, but I'm using my phone. But you got your iPhone. You got to plug that baby up before it dies, right? You got to recharge the battery before it goes dead. Sometimes we have to turn the phone completely off so it can stop acting crazy. Because we're running in circles. We're overwhelmed. We're just like an engine. Sometimes we have to get that oil change. What I mean by that oil change, when the caterpillar finally says, okay, it's time for me to make a revolutionary change, it starts to create this shroud around them, right? What happens to the caterpillar? The caterpillar starts to make its cocoon. But now it's inside the cocoon. And what happens? Science is so beautiful. God is so beautiful how he does everything. You got to look at the small miracles in every little thing so you can start being blessed with more of the beautiful things that God has for you. When you start viewing everything as a small mini miracle, God will start bringing miracles into your life like it's no other. I'm just going to tell you, I'm just speaking out of experience. This is not something I read about. I just know. But what happens during the metamorphosis of the caterpillar inside the cocoon? It becomes liquid. Oh, I'm getting chills talking about this. It becomes liquid. So when you ask God to take over your life and you ask him to take over and take the wheel, he prepares you for transformation. You are in your cocoon. Now you have become unavailable to those people that have been toxic to you, that have been draining at you, that has been tugging at you, that has been worrying you. Sometimes it's yourself. You have to get away from yourself. Let's just be honest. But in that time, God is liquefying you. And I call it oil. It's not liquid. He turns you into oil. He makes you so oily. Oh, I don't want to cry. That is when he can turn you into something that is so beautiful on the inside of you because you have let go and you have let God take over. And I'm going to tell you, that takes a lot of discipline. That takes a lot of maturity to say, God, you know what? Take over. Because a lot of us don't like to lose control. I know. Been there. I know. When you surrender and you submit yourself, he can make you oily. He can now use you for the right thing. And you can't be that caterpillar anymore. You can't hang out with the worms no more. You can't hang out with that slow-paced snail no more. You've got to become something bigger and better. You've got to develop into something bigger and better, my dear. You've got to surrender to something bigger than you, bigger than yourself, outside yourself. And I'm going to tell you, when you're in that cocoon, y'all, it is it's lonely. You feel alienated. You're the person that carries the dream, but everybody doesn't believe in your dreams. People get tired of your dream. People don't really continue to support you because it's an ongoing process. And a lot of people tend to rush your process, but you get into your cocoon and you start meditating. And when you meditate, you're only asking God. You invite the Holy Spirit in, whoever that is, and whoever you pray to, it don't matter. Who cares? Just take some time out to love on yourself. God will give you a new life, a new energy. He will restore your joy. Some of us are feeling so depressed and so low, and social media has created these pictures in our minds that people are doing better and they're this and they're that. But listen to me, whether they're living the good life or not, we don't know. Some of us are really good. I think I'm living a decent life. That's because I worked hard for my peace. I worked hard for this peace, baby. This is discipline. And most of that peace had to come from within. Let's just be real. I'm a working progress. And some of us are working progress. Stop beating yourself up. Stop tearing yourself down so much. I had to stop doing that. I get it. But we have to stop and start appreciating what God has given us and start using those gifts. It's just that simple. I know I've been talking and ranting and raving, but let God make you oily. Let him transform you into something more beautiful. I did not want to let go of my old self. I don't know what God, I'm in my metamorphosis right now. I haven't made the butterfly yet, but I'm waiting. I know it's coming. I have very positive energy about it. My spirits are really high on it. But I want you to start making yourself think the best about yourself. Start saying good things about who you are. And stop being so hard on yourself. Some of us look at ourselves and we don't even like ourselves. We don't even appreciate what God has given us. And you've got to slow down. Some of us move so fast. You've got to slow it down. Calm down and relax. Turn it all the way off. Plug yourself into God. Connect with him. Know that the kingdom of God resides in you. Because I'm going to tell you, if you run yourself ragged, you are taking on those different people's energies and spirits. And I'm going to tell you, it's a real thing. I don't want to, freak somebody out, whoever's watching this, but listen to me. You have to take care of yourself. You have to, I don't care if it's family or friends, you have to take yourself away from whatever is taking the life out of you, sucking the life out of you. You've got to take yourself away from it for a moment, if it's just for a moment, or for a season, or cut it off. It's not the easiest thing. It's the most uncomfortable state to be in your cocoon and be unavailable to people and just reboot. It's not easy to restore energy and to take yourself away from people that you may love the most. You love these people more than you love yourself. I know. You believe in people, but sometimes you have to be selfish and put yourself in that cocoon and allow God to turn you into liquid, turn you into something else that's more beautiful. And when he turns you into that butterfly, you will fly, you will flutter, you'll be able to pollinate and germinate other flowers that are allowing, that's inviting of you. And you start hopping to one flower to another. All of those flowers are going to bloom because you make it grow. If you know anything about pollination, germination, caterpillars have a big deal about that. They have a big role in that situation. I want you to become that butterfly that God wants you to be. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. Nobody else, just for yourself. You owe it to yourself to find that cocoon. And don't discount that process. Don't let anybody rush you out of your cocoon. Don't let anybody rush you in that metamorphosis stage. And if you know somebody that's going through that, be a little bit merciful. Be a little bit more graceful. Pray for those people that are really trying to elevate their lives, because y'all, I'm going to tell you, whoever came up with that thing that says, oh, if you stress, if you drain, you in the wrong thing. No. I'm going to tell you, Tyler Perry has a story. T.D. Jakes has a story. My pastor has a story. My parents have a story. People of power go through so much before they become who they are, before they become the great, the greatest. It's a process, y'all. This stuff don't happen overnight, but it can. But you still got to allow and respect the metamorphosis stage. You cannot, the caterpillar can't just skip over that process. He has to go through it. It's a very lonely process. It's a very scary process. It's a very uncomfortable process. But you know what? You can do this. I hope this blessed someone. And if you loved it, like it, love it, comment, and please share. Because I know one thing about life. Life is actually worth living. And you can do this. And I know that spirit has been heavy on some people. I've been listening to some young people, and I've been around some people, and these people are heavy. Adults, even our leaders, our pastors are heavy. Take some time in your cocoon. It is okay to say, you know what? I need some time. I need some time to focus on myself, or focus on whatever you got to focus on. Focus on your marriage. Focus on whatever. Focus on your business. Focus on whatever you need to do. But don't give up on yourself. People are rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. And don't worry if they are not. Don't worry about if people are rooting for you or not. You need to pull yourself together and become that butterfly, that beautiful butterfly that can fly high. I wish you the best, and I hope this blessed somebody. But again, share it and comment and leave me. If you have any questions, you want to message me, I'm there, I'm here, and it's your girl Angel. I'll see you next time. Be blessed.